Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm working on some special projects. We're going to turn this crane game into an animatronic. So I got this crane game in an auction from Reaper's Realm. Did not pay a lot for it, less than $100. Right now it's a crane game. It's an actual crane game. It's an old one because you can see it doesn't even have a joystick. It just has go that way and go this way. It doesn't even have like come back or whatever. So I don't even know if it works. So first thing I'm gonna do is plug it in and see what happens. What I want to do here is I'm going to turn this into a prop in the sideshow at our haunt, amusement park kind of theme. And what I want to happen, I'm going to put prizes in here and stuff, and I'm going to have a red button here on top that's on, has a light in it. Then if anyone walks by, that's actually the trigger, and if they press it, something from that toy stash is going to jump up at them. I don't know if I'll have it hit the glass. I mean, it is plexiglass, so I could. That could be cool. I just need to tune it in so it doesn't break this. But yeah, jump up, maybe hit the glass, loud noise, all that cool stuff. So let's plug this in, see what actually works. If I could get like the lights to work, the lights in there to work, anything on this that actually works is just going to be cooler and cooler. So they didn't leave me any keys, but luckily all of this opens, so otherwise I'd be breaking a lock. Let's plug it in. All right, so off rip, it's plugged in, and I don't see anything happening. So sometimes these have an on-off switch, either up here on the top or on the back. I'm gonna get something so I can climb up, because this is about 7 feet tall. There's nothing on the back that jumps out immediately. I'm gonna climb up there and see. If there's nothing up there, I'm gonna open this back, because clearly they redid this with drywall screws. These are not the original screws that came with this. So I'm going to pull those off, see where this power cord goes, and see if there's an on-off switch. All right, so here's what I figured out. Inside of here, there's no on-off switch. Inside of here, way in the back, was this board pushed way back there. Now, this long, I don't know how many pins that is, but got a whole bunch of pins, had to straighten some out, plugged it in, and then that green light came on, so I knew I had power. Also, if you touch this underneath while it's plugged in, it shocks the hell out of you. Followed that wire went around, opened this up to see if anything was happening. Some motors in here are super fucked up, so that's not gonna work out. So what I'm gonna do is just eliminate power to this whole thing and just power what I need to power. They rigged up this fluorescent fixture and had like a black light in it. I'm not gonna use that, it's just gonna go in the garbage. But looking at these, there's some things that are very, very good. If I could get anything working, I would love to get these little string lights in here working. So I'm gonna still try to track those back, see if I can find those. But up here, you can see there's a hole in the top. What I'm gonna do is, there's just some mesh there. I'll just hang like a party bulb down into that. And I can just run the lighting off of like 120 or 110 there with like a color changing bulb. That'll make this look cool. And then what I noticed also is this little thing right here. So I'm guessing that at some point, if you look underneath, I'm guessing at some point this was like a candy crane or something. There's a chute right there that goes up to that. You can see here where this is. I don't know if that would have been, I don't know, there would have been some kind of smaller prizes in there, and maybe like a win every time kind of thing, and it would come out here or something. But that to me looks like the perfect spot. If I take all that out, which is just these screws, and then this whole thing will fall out, that's the perfect spot to mount my air cylinder. So I'm gonna mount the cylinder, then that gets everything under here. I'll just pull out a lot of this shit and throw it away to clear space. Probably open the back so I can work from the back instead of here in this small door. And then, yeah, I'm free to start working away. Let's do it. It also came with this skull inside. This is like a latex skull, which is not bad. It's actually like a human size, humanish, maybe slightly small size skull. I think what I'm gonna do is take off the prize door and put that skull in there. So then underneath there's like this skull and the prize drop. That could be kind of cool. Maybe it'll just sit in there. Yeah, even better, then I don't have to take the door off. Look at that. That part's done, look at that. All right, so I'm gonna start taking this apart and see if I can track these lights back. All right, so I pulled the top off and traced these wires back. You can see they come down right there in the corner, right there. And then just followed those down all the way back here and found one of these little plugs over here. Didn't have, this shouldn't shock me anymore. It wasn't plugged in here. One of these, I know you can't see it, but there's a plug in there that wasn't plugged in. And I plugged it in and now those work. That plug right there should have power as well, but there's no light in it, so whatever. I'll get something hooked up to it, but I can put this back. This was the more important part, so sick. We got some working lights and they flash, so that's even cooler. Anyway, I'm gonna put that back on and then I'm gonna start taking this stuff apart. I'll start with this, open this up and get this this thing taken out. Then I can start putting in the mechanism. All right, guys, so I opened up the back panel. This is where I was working there in the front, but now you can see in it. I was getting old shit in here that was extra parts and stuff out. Anything that's not in use can go away. So what I'm gonna do is, this is the cord that used to go, this is like the main power cord for this. I'm just throwing away all this stuff. I did find $1 in here, so that was cool. But I'm gonna put this inside and hook it into the power with the rest of this, because right now essentially this just operates the light up top. And I'm gonna run everything down to here. So let's take a look at that. All right, so I got power strip, GFI protected, of course, because you don't want to start a fire. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that old power cord, I'm gonna plug it into the power strip, and I'm gonna plug the prop controller into this as well, and the speakers into this as well. So everything runs into the power strip, so my new power cord turns on the whole prop. I don't have a bunch of cords to plug in, so I'm gonna use some small 1¼ screws just to put around this to hold it in place. Then I'm gonna start plugging everything in and start mounting everything and getting everything ready to go. All right, so I'm gonna put the trigger in, and for it I'm using these arcade push buttons. Got these pretty good on Amazon. I got like a 5-pack for like 20 bucks, so very cheap. I'm using the red one because I like it, and I'm gonna make it flash. There's an LED in here, so I just took that apart. I did wire up the switch already. One side of these operates the LED, the other one is like the actual switch. So I'll show you how to wire that up in a minute, but I'm gonna grab a spade bit. This looks to be maybe 1/2 inch. I'm gonna grab the proper size spade bit, drill a hole in the front, and then drop it in. Yeah, I was blowing the sawdust off here. So I got the button in, just made a hole, put the button in. I would have preferred it over here so it's like balanced on this, but this is where my axis is. If I put it over here, it's going into the prize chute, and that sucks. So anyway, I'm gonna show you underneath. All right, so you can see it there. I think I'm actually gonna, well, no, I'm not gonna come from the prize door. There's this little nut that needs to go on the back of that, and I'm gonna try to get that on. It's just barely coming through that slot, so I'm gonna try to make that happen. All right, so I've got my controller plugged in. By the way, this is a Amon Quadro from Purgatory Props. I've got channel 1 going into my solenoid, which this solenoid is going to activate that cylinder, which is going to shoot the prop up. Then channel 4 I have going into the light on the trigger. And if you hold down, if you look right here on channel 4, those words say ambient record. If you hold that down, this light changes to like a purple almost, and then you can record your ambient, like a triggered ambient animation. So all I did was just press and hold it and release it a few times. It said you can record up to 3 hours of ambient animation, which is crazy, but that is what is making this red light flash. So kind of cool. I could, and I might, put some of these LEDs in these and just get them plugged in, just so those light up as well. We'll see. I mean, shit, I might as well. I'll make it happen. I'll figure that out. I'm gonna put in a jumper, so when you use these, and there's a whole video online about how to do this on the Purgatory Props website, but you got to put in a jumper wire from essentially terminal 1 to terminal 3 on the trigger, and then your trigger goes into terminal 2 and 4. So I'm gonna wire that in right now. This will also have audio, so I'll go grab some speakers. I'm gonna put those behind the skull and the prize chute, and then I'll have to have Dwayne do the audio. It's got an internal SD card and an amp, so you can just hook in straight with like a 5mm, like a headphone jack type aux cord, and go into some computer speakers, which is what we always do. And then I'm gonna hook the air lines in. And then I was looking at this, I'm gonna have an extra channel anyway. I actually have 2 extra channels, but I'm going to put another solenoid into another channel and run right here. I'm going to screw this closed some way from the inside so that it can't open up anymore. And then what I'm going to do is right here in this, where the lock should be, I'm going to put an air blaster in that. So when that prop shoots up, air shoots out, it hits them. Great scare. So yeah, this is all made so like I'm enticing them to press this. I also have to put the light inside, but it's coming along. All right, so I have to get a plug for the other solenoid, but so I didn't hook the air blast up yet, but I did get the light in and put some holes in the back so that can go in. So now like this thing's got all kinds of lights, because it's got the flashing red button, color changing light inside, which actually looks way better than I thought it even would. And then these lights up here that still work. And then if everything's ran right, as soon as I press this, you should, yeah. So that bear is going to be on that. He'll be all scary and stuff. It's going to jump up and then spray stuff out of here too. So yeah, it's coming along. All right, guys, I made a little bit of a mistake here. Welded this bar onto this cylinder so it can go up into that bear, and that can be what extends and lifts the bear. Problem is, now, I didn't think about this, can't get this cylinder onto that whatever holder. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to cut a slot in it so I can slide this in. Then I'm actually going to weld these two together, so everything's not going to move anymore. Let's do it. All right, so what I ended up doing, I just cut that shaft off there. You can see, focus, and flipped this bar over, re-welded it to the shaft, and then that let me get the nut on and the the bracket. So slid all that on. I also put some tacks around the nut to the bracket so that won't come unscrewed and cause any problems. But so everything's welded together now. This a little warm, but up and down motion. Bear's going to go on there. I need to hook the air lines up, and then I'm going to get the other solenoid hooked up to get the air blast to come out of here. All right, so here's the first test with the mechanism. Got the lights working. Let's see what happens. Push the button. All right. All right, so we're gonna need some adhesive. So I used some Loctite foam. Get some spray foam, jammed it all the way up in him. Spray foamed like the whole inside. Now he's like standing with attitude. It's kind of funny. I can feel the spray foam in here. This is just cloth, so spray foamed all through it. That should adhere, and then I'll have a jumping bear. So once that gets on there, that should stick very, very well. Grab everything inside, hopefully expand pretty well, and won't come out. If I need to, I'll cut a hole in the top and add more, but it's gonna probably expand some because that's what the expanding foam does. But I'm gonna work on the other solenoid while I wait for this to cure. It's gonna be a while for that to cure. All right, so got this hooked up. Brought the air line out here. I just put a screw between the door and the jamb to hold that closed. Then if I have to open it again, it's right there. It's not screwed in, it's just kind of wedged screwed in, but just brought that out right there. Had to do some rearranging. So I put in a splitter for my airline, so I still only have one airline that comes in, going into solenoid 2. And this is a two-way solenoid, so it pushes in and back. So I had to plug the one side, which is why I've got that on there, just to plug that airflow. And that's also where you hear that hissing coming from. Yeah, that's all from right there. Yeah, that's all from right there. So that went into channel 2 here. I've got channel 1 is the bear, channel 2 is the air blast. I've got one channel left, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to hook up a strobe light. Now I'm going to put up here to give this some strobing action when it starts jumping and stuff, and then I've got all that cool stuff. So I've got some strobe lights over here. I'll show you them. So I've got these little strobe lights. This is a car lamp, like a car strobe. Just order these off Amazon. Again, anything for a car is going to be 12 volt, which works great with your controllers and stuff. On this, it's nice. It's got 2 screw holes. It'll screw up there great. It's got 3 wires. So you've got red, black, and yellow. Black's your negative, red your positive. When you have this wired up and you touch yellow to your positive, it's going to change the mode. This thing has like 32 like flashing modes on it. Just find one that you like and then go with that. I'm going to wire this in, screw it up, and then get some speakers, and this thing's pretty much done. All right, so got the strobe light put in right here. It's screwed in, so it's good. Zip tied it up to this rail, then just shoot some black Gorilla Tape, ripped it in half, taped it all the way down, and ran into that same hole where the cylinder comes out of. Then just runs underneath and goes into channel 3. So when I program this, I'll program everything, and the thing's gonna go crazy. The strobe light will go off, that'll jump up, air blast, and then channel 4 is the trigger. Yes, channel 4 is the trigger button, the light for the trigger button. So all that I have left to do on this is I still got to wait for this to cure, which is why I haven't reprogrammed it and tested it yet, because I don't want this to fly off. Otherwise, all that cure time is just wasted. But put speakers on here and get the audio made, which Dwayne's working on, so I won't have that today. But yeah, this thing's about done. All right, guys, here we go. Air blast. Bear's jumping around like crazy, and the strobe light's going off. Everything works perfect. So speakers are in here. You can see them. I just used some computer speakers. They hook in with a 3.5 millimeter, essentially an aux cord. Ran them through right here on the bottom. Got the power and the aux cord coming out of there. Another thing I added was a regulator. Wanted to bring that air down some so the prop doesn't destroy itself. But yeah, got everything in now. I just need Dwayne to hook up the audio, but I'm sure I'll show you this at some point in October, so subscribe if you want to see this with audio and everything. But I'm going to close this up. This thing's ready to go to the hunt. So this has been a long video showing you all this, but that is turning a claw machine into an animatronic prop. Everything on this turned out awesome. I'm super happy with how it came out. It's exactly what I wanted. All that's left is that audio and putting a bunch of prop toys and stuff in here, and then scaring people. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see more of these, I'm doing all kinds of stuff all the time. Please subscribe, like this video, and all that good stuff. Comment if you think this was cool. Thanks, guys. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time. You stay scary.